a non-car person asks my opinion on what vehicle to purchase, I pretty much always say Corolla. I mean, come on. Corolla is practically synonymous with reliably getting you from point A to point B. Now, some people say that the Corolla is boring, but I have a much different take. The Corolla is not boring. The Corolla has always been the logical car choice. It's for people that want their car to always get them to where they want to go, mile after mile, without any surprises, without being over-designed, without any problems, and without needlessly demanding their attention. But now there is something that does demand your attention. The 2020 Corolla is now available in the United States with a hybrid powertrain, giving you over 50 miles per gallon. That's kind of a big deal. In this video, we'll take an in-depth look at the Corolla Hybrid, drive it on some back roads, and then head on out to the desert where we'll visit the Noah Purifoy Outdoor Museum and see how this car handles a family road trip. And we'll see what kind of gas mileage it gets. Before we get started, please hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you can get notified of my new and used car reviews, road trip stories, and updates on my fleet of weird vehicles. This latest generation Corolla retains a similar formula to past Corollas. Keep it simple. Don't overstyle it, and that's readily apparent in the side profile here. Sure, it won't stand out in a parking lot, but I think the key word here is unfussy. In the front, you can see that the trend of large grills has hit pretty much every car made today. Normally, I don't like this trend, but it pairs pretty nicely with these cool-looking LED headlights. The taillights look nice too. The 15-inch alloy wheels with wheel covers are standard. And it's important to note, here in the US, the Corolla Hybrid is only available in the LE trim. So what you see here is what you get. Overall, it's not a shape that you're going to lust after, but it's a shape that will constantly remind you, don't worry, I'm not going to cause you any stress. I'm not going to cause you any trouble. I'm a Corolla. You can't talk about the Corolla Hybrid without mentioning the Prius. Under the hood is the same powertrain, making the same 121 horsepower. It has the same battery pack, you get about the same gas mileage, the 0 to 60 time is about the same. So yeah, you can really think about the Corolla Hybrid as kind of a Prius wrapped up in a Corolla body. In the front, you're greeted with clean lines and a look that's slightly more upscale than previous generation Corollas. Everything's arranged in a clear, straightforward layout. The ergonomics are basically perfect, the seats are comfortable, everything is where it should be without even having to look for it. Overall, it looks good, and it's pretty obvious that it was tailor-made for an unobtrusive, predictable driving experience. The materials are in line with what you'd expect for this price point, but actually this dash right here is soft and squishy and feels really nice. Really, the only demerit I can give Toyota on this interior is the steering wheel trim that squeaks if you look at it the wrong way. Since in the United States, the Corolla Hybrid only comes in the LE trim, you can't get leather seats, power seat, or a sunroof. I'm kind of wondering if maybe if this thing sells well, they might offer some higher trim levels in the future. You've got a traditional shift lever, which I generally prefer. But when compared to the joystick thing in the Prius, this takes up a lot more space. The storage bin's pretty small, but you can fit like 15 Cliff Bars in here. I eat way too many Cliff Bars. But it does have a USB charging port inside. Speaking of USB ports, way over here is the USB port for the infotainment system, and there's a little cubby over here for your phone. You do kind of have to tuck your USB cable over to the left here so it doesn't dangle in front of the passenger. Right here in the middle, you have the touchscreen infotainment system with dedicated buttons for many functions, including a volume knob and a tune knob. Lots of piano black right here, which shows fingerprints very easily. But overall, I like the placement of this infotainment system. The touchscreen is really easy to reach, and you don't really have to shift your eyes that far from the road to use it. The graphics feel a bit dated, but everything works as you'd expect. You've got Apple CarPlay Standard, which is great for me because I have an iPhone, but no Android Auto. Though it does have Amazon Alexa support. Apparently through an app, you can connect to the car and ask it questions like, are the doors locked, or how much gas do I have? Though I think I'd prefer if I could get same-day delivery of Cliff Bars directly to my car. And right below is a simple to use climate control system with an eco mode and a mode to turn off the rear vents, which you can do if you're traveling with somebody in the rear seat that you don't like, or maybe you just want to be more efficient. Not much to talk about back here. The seats are fine. There's a decent amount of headroom. There's just slightly less rear legroom than a Prius, but overall it's fine if the front seats aren't all the way back. It would be nice if there were USB ports back here, but the rear seat amenities are limited to a fold-down armrest and a really small storage area right here between the seats. I mean, you can kind of hold a phone, sort of. I'm not really sure what that's for, but it's there. Also, the lower belt line in this Corolla makes the rear seats feel a lot less claustrophobic than in other new sedans. It's a lot of other cars where the window kind of goes up like this and you feel like you're kind of trapped in the back of a cave. Okay, let's take this thing for a drive. If you've ever driven the latest generation Prius, you'll pretty much know exactly how this car drives. It's nearly identical. Just like the Prius, the hybrid powertrain seamlessly switches between the electric motor and the gas motor depending on the driving conditions. Unlike the Prius, the Corolla takes a slightly more subtle approach to informing you about the car's state. The Prius display is all about showing you everything you could possibly want to know about the state of your car's efficiency. But on the Corolla Hybrid, you've got these small diagrams right in the center here, so it doesn't beat you over the head with efficiency information, but it's there if you want it. Now, when you actually punch it in this car, 0 to 30 miles an hour actually feels pretty good. Got that electric motor that's helping propel you. Sure, if you were to do a more traditional 0 to 60 test, yeah, it's not going to impress anybody. It gets to 60 in about 10.5 seconds, which is slow, unless you're used to driving a Prius, and then you might consider it acceptable. Now, as you can probably tell, I'm on a quite windy back road, and you're probably asking yourself, Ethan, why did you take a Corolla Hybrid on a windy back road? First of all, I like driving on windy back roads no matter what car I'm in, and it's always kind of interesting to see how a car like this will actually do on a back road. And yes, this is no sports car by any stretch of the imagination, but it's actually quite a bit better than I thought it was going to be. You know, you might expect a car like this, a hybrid, to be really sloppy on a back road. Yeah, and I'm not gonna set any world records here, but if you decided to push it a little bit hard, it's not gonna send you careening off the edge of a cliff. One thing that I noticed is that the imperfections in the road don't really seem to upset the chassis that much. The ride quality is quite good. Okay, we're about ready to head out on our road trip out to the desert. Let's see how much we can fit in the cargo area of this Corolla Hybrid, and then I'll install my daughter's baby seat. Let's see how that fits. The Corolla has 13.1 cubic feet of cargo space, which is slightly smaller than most of the competition. The Prius has more than double that at 27 cubic feet, but you can easily fold down the seats to open up some more room. Okay, let's see how easy or difficult it is to get my daughter's baby seat in the back seat here. Now, as you can see, this is kind of a big baby seat, sort of a tight fit. Really do have to move those front seats up to actually make it fit. I'm gonna put it in the middle here because the middle is actually the safest place for our baby seat, but I am gonna have to move those seats up. Still kind of a tight fit, but it'll work. All right, there we go. And you can see here the latch anchors are really easy to get to, but I always attach the car seat using the seat belt. All right, here we are. Let's go take a look around. These 10 acres of open desert land in Joshua Tree, California are home to the assemblage sculptures of Noah Purifoy. Purifoy was an African-American visual artist best known for his sculptures using found items. He spent the last 15 years of his life in the desert, creating the over 100 environmental sculptures that you see here, made from all sorts of discarded items like burnt wood, televisions, computer monitors, and toilets. Allowing the artwork to be exposed to the harsh desert elements means the work is constantly changing, offering the viewer a new experience each visit. So a big part of this art out here is that it's left out to the elements, left to decay. And it's pretty interesting to see how time and nature has changed all of these common ordinary items over the years. It really is something else. The other thing that I love about this is that you can walk into the artwork. Experiencing Noah Purifoy's artwork was really transformative for me. He recontextualized common everyday items in an incredibly unique way. Maybe 50 years from now, someone will transform this common everyday hybrid vehicle into artwork. As a road trip car, there's some things that I really like about this vehicle. First, the fuel economy, of course. I mean, that's kind of one of the primary reasons you're buying this car, right? We averaged over 56 miles per gallon in our time with this car, easily besting the 52 that's rated by the EPA. And the car was quiet and comfortable during the course of our road trip. I never really got fatigued in these seats, and the road noise was never really all that intrusive. The only thing that I didn't really like was how the rear-facing car seat really eats into your front seat space. If you have two kids in the back that need car seats, it might get a little tight in here. Where I think this car would really shine is as a commuter vehicle. It's kind of the perfect car to get to and from work without fuss and without having to fill your gas tank that frequently. Let's talk price. This Corolla Hybrid with the optional Blizzard Pearl paint comes in at $24,480. Opt for any of the other colors and you'll save almost $500. Under $24K for a car that gets over 52 miles per gallon is a pretty good value. If you're in the market for a Corolla Hybrid, you might also be considering the Prius. It gets about the same gas mileage, and while the Prius offers you more cargo capacity, it's almost $1,000 more expensive than this Corolla Hybrid. Buying a Prius is a bit more of a statement than buying a Corolla Hybrid. I think the iconic shape of the Prius sort of lets everybody know that you care about efficiency. This Corolla Hybrid isn't as blatant about its efficiency. The Honda Insight is much quicker off the line than this Corolla Hybrid, and it can be had in upper trim levels, but the Corolla Hybrid easily beats it in terms of real-world efficiency. The Toyota Corolla is one of those vehicles that often flies under the radar, but year after year, thousands and thousands of these things are sold and continue to provide their buyers with countless trouble-free miles. Now that we get this hybrid version with its incredible fuel economy and relatively low price, it's a combination that I can see driving more and more people to the Corolla nameplate. I really have no idea how well this Corolla Hybrid will sell, considering it can be found on the same dealer lots as the just as efficient Prius. But if you want a comfortable, inexpensive, easy to drive, easy to live with, insanely efficient sedan, I'm not sure there's anything better out there.